Happy New Year everyone, January 2024 now, and I'm going to be planting some of my trees today that I grew from seed. I've got my cob nuts that I brought in, about 150 of those I'm going to plant, and I've got about 120 sycamores, so I'm just going to do 20 or 30 a day. I've got a new way of doing it that's really fast and just makes everything a lot easier. I'll be showing you that in a minute, but I just wanted to give you a bit of an update on my eucalyptus tree plantation. So I put two types of eucalypts in here, gunny eye, which is supposed to be pretty sort of bulletproof, probably the best known eucalyptus, and another one that was called Cossifera or Cockifera, don't know how you pronounce it, but another one, both supposed to be hardy down to about sort of minus 18 or 20. So anyway, they went in, they've had two growing seasons. They went in on the April. We had the heat wave year before last, and I had to water them every Sunday. We gave each tree a couple of litres of water, and I mulched around them with wood chip and had to help keep the moisture in too. I got them through that summer. I did lose about 20 trees, but I thought with that heat wave, no rain for about 8 weeks, that wasn't too bad a loss really. So I got them through there. We had the winter, had a couple of minus 14s, couple of minus 12s. It did get quite cold. But like I say, they are supposed to be hardy down to minus 18 or 20. Anyway, end result, sadly, is I've lost almost all of them. The gunny eye, like this little fella here, he's just about at the top of the guard. I reckon I've got a dozen at most of the gunny eye that have survived, and of the Cossifera, almost none, maybe one or two that died back, and they've just got a little bud literally at ground level, but they're really struggling. So it's been pretty much a total failure. You know, this does happen. It's a bit of a shame. Obviously it was a fair expense. It was nearly 400 quid for the trees, and a lot of work getting them all in and mulched and everything, but these things happen. I'm not going to let it get me down. So I've grown my hazels, my sycamores from seed. I've done videos on that, and I've got, I think, about 120, 130 sycamores to go in, and I've got various other things that I pot up as a gardener. I pot up any seedlings that I find, so I've got those to go in as well. So I'm going to start replacing them, and going forward, it's you know, it's a good learning curve. I thought with climate change and everything that the eucalypts, a lot of the forestry places for timber recommend these sorts of species going forwards are going to be better for drought tolerance, stuff like that. But you know, to lose that many, it just goes to show really that either the ground isn't good enough, or that they're not quite as hardy as I thought, you know, as they say they are. But anyway, a bit of a failure, but it's just made me realise that I'm now going forward going to stick with native trees that I know do really well, and I know sycamore does really well. I've got a few silver birch that I've grown from seed as well, so I'm going to replace them with those. And I've got hazels on the go. I bought 2 kilos of seeds of nuts, 2 different types of hazels, well, mixed cob nuts, and then some Gunselbert cob nuts. So I'm growing those on. I'll pot them on in the spring once they start shooting into the same sort of sows that I did before, and I'm just going to stick with native trees that I know do really well. So yeah, it's just very unfortunate. What I'll do is I'll leave any in that are alive, leave them where they are, and then I'll just use all the guards to put trees in exactly the same place, because there's already a bit of chip down. Even though the grass has come through it, that bit of chip will help to keep the moisture in. So I'm just going to replace them with the sycamores and some hazels, and just mix it up a little bit. But anyway, let's go plant some new trees now then. So these are the sows, little hazel trees, and I've done my sycamores in the same size sows, about 6 inches long and maybe a couple of inches at the top. So I was just thinking, what's the easiest way to plant them, because the ground is very stony here, and you know, I suffer from my back a bit and stuff like that. So any sort of digging, if I'm planting hundreds of trees, it just gets a little bit. So I'm always looking for easier ways to do it. Now I did get a big petrol auger, a double-handled auger, which I use for anything that I grow on in pots, because I do, when I find seedlings of about this size, I put them into like a 2-litre pot instead of a sow. So I use the auger to plant those. But for these, what I've done is I bought this bad boy. So you get these, you see them on the internet. This one was, I think it was $9.99 or something like that. All different sizes. I think this one is 30mm or 40mm, something like that. But it's just about the same size as the top, and just about the right depth. So what you do have to do is, as you drill down, you have to keep trying to lift the soil out because the soil does fall back in a little bit. So sometimes you'll drill a hole that's deep enough, but it'll only go into about where my thumb is. So you have to keep sort of pulling the soil out a little bit. But it is so quick, and it's a slightly longer one, so I only have to bend slightly. It doesn't get me back too much, and it does a good job. So I don't know how many I can get to a battery charge, but the plan is I'll just bring this down now and again, and if I can get 40, 50 trees in a time or something, I'll just get them done over the next few weeks. But I'll show you how it works. I'll just do one here quickly, then I'll bring you in closer to show you. But basically I can just walk around with a bucket full of trees, and what I'm going to do with the hazels, I'm not going to guard the hazels because they don't tend to get as nibbled by the rabbits and deer as other things do. So because I'm growing all of them from nuts now, and I bought 2 kilos of nuts for about, I don't know, I think it was about 30 quid. So I should get about 300 or 400 trees from them. So they're very cheap to grow my own. So I'm just going to keep doing it each year. If I lose a few, I'm not too worried. So just doing it this way, not having to guard them, it just makes it so much quicker, and I'm willing to accept the odd loss. So basically, I'll just drill a little hole. This ground can be a bit annoying because it's so stony, and obviously this isn't a high torque drill, so if I hit stones it does cut out a bit. But just drill it like that. Just drill a little hole, keep pulling the mud out and just tapping it off, and that's basically it, done. And then you just pop the tree in, push him down a bit, and then just tread him in, and that's a tree planted. I mean, it's as simple as that. So really happy with that. It's a good buy for a tenner. That is going to save me a lot of work. Like I said, I can just walk around, dozen, 20 trees at a time, just walk around popping them in with the drill. Couldn't be simpler. So just to show you it a little bit closer, what I'm going to basically do is walk around. I will give these trees a little bit of a chip around them, even though I'm not gardening them, just doesn't help hold the moisture in. So I'll just kick the grass back and just pop them in. Just have to give it a bit of a wiggle at the top because this is slightly narrower than the top of the sow. So I hit a bit of a stone there. That's the only annoying thing really with this ground. But there you go. Drill a hole like that. Get your tree. Pop him in, push him to the bottom. Pull the earth round. Give him a stamp to make sure he's firmed in, and that's it. One tree planted, simple as that. So obviously looking back to 2 years ago when I decided to try the eucalyptus, you know, I wish I'd have made the decision to just stick with what I was already doing, which is sticking with native trees. But you know, no regrets. I like to try new things. You know, I'm always up for trying new things. Because you never know, do you? If you don't try things, you just stay ignorant. But obviously when you try new things, sometimes everything just doesn't work, and it was a total loss. I'm now starting to plant this area again, 2 years behind and 400 quid out of pocket. But you know, anyway, no regrets. But I'm going to crack on now and start banging some of these trees in, and we'll see you next time, guys. Happy New Year and take it easy.